Hello there, welcome. In the last session, we have covered what is a load balancer. To summarize, basically load balancer will make sure whatever the user is sending the request, it will make sure that the request may go either to machine A or machine B. That is, the role of the load balancer is to balance the request which is being sent by this user. Whoever is hitting the website, load balancer just make sure that the request should go to either A machine or a B machine because so as to balance the traffic. Now, we're going to learn how to achieve this in a demo. Theory wise, we are good, right? Now, we're going to discuss the complete demo. So please, you need to pay attention now because we're going to learn many things now. So over here, I went to my Azure portal. Now over here, what I'm going to do, the first thing which I'm going to do is create a virtual network. We haven't covered a virtual network as of now, but just to tell you, a network basically make sure that all the machines you are putting or all the resources which you are putting under the same network, it can talk with each other. That's the use case of the virtual network. Or in short, it is called as VNet. We're going to discuss in very detail in the networking. But what you need to understand in this virtual network, what it allows that if all the machines are residing in it, they can talk with each other. They can talk with each other. Now, if a machine is not in this network, that is, let's say it's outside of the net, then this machine cannot talk with this network unless and until it is made part of it or it is allowed to talk with this network because it is outside this network. So the demo which we are going to do is both the machines, all the machines which we are going to have will be in the same network. So the thing is, what we're going to do is this will be our VM A and we're going to have VM B. Now these two machines will be in the same network so that it can talk with each other, so that these machines can talk with each other. Now, the first activity I'm going to do is create a network. So you should also create a first network with me. It's very easy. I'm going to hit create button here. Let's hit create. Once you hit create, it will redirect to you a page so that you can create a network. It's very straightforward. Now, over here, you select your subscription, you select your resource group. Let's create a new resource group called as load balancer so that we know that it's for demo of load balancer. I click on OK. That will be our new resource group. I'm going to give the network name as load balancer network so that we understand that this is a network for the load balancer. Let's select the location as Central US. By the way, you can select any location. That's fine. I'm going to simply hit review and create. I just change the resource group and change the name. That's all. That's how easy it is. You can create a network. It will be an empty network. On this network, I'm going to put my virtual machines. And then we're going to perform this demo further. I hit create. With this, I am going to have my virtual network created in just few seconds. Now, once I have my network with me, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create these two machines, machine A and machine B. That will be the next step. So I'm going to write down the steps also, which we are doing because it's a big demo. So you should not confuse. The first thing which we do is create. virtual network. In short, I'm going to call it as VNet. Then I'm going to create 2 machines. These are the steps I'm going to do first. So the network is created. If you click on go to resource, you will see the network got created, which is good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply type here as virtual machine and click on this virtual machine, because we are going to create 2 machines now, and we're going to put these machines in the virtual network. So let's hit create. What we need to do, we need to create a virtual machine. I have clicked on this virtual machine. So let's create our first machine. Under the subscription, that's a subscription where it's gonna charge or bill us. Let's select the same resource group. Remember, we created this resource group called as load balancer. So I selected that resource group. You now add your machine name, which is machine A in our case. It's in the central US. I don't need any availability zone or anything. So I selected no infrastructure required. I scroll down and you select the appropriate operating system. We're going to use Ubuntu to perform this demo. So I selected Ubuntu operating system. You can select your appropriate size of the operating system, and I'm going to select this one. So you can select the one which is minimal so that you will not get charged. I'm not going to do any changes. For authentication, we are authenticating via keys. That's all. I'm going to hit next to the disks. No change in the disks. Click on the networking. Now, once you hit the networking, remember, make sure to select the same network which you created, which is load balancer network. This is the same virtual network which we created. You just need to make sure that this machine should have that network selected. Remember our demo? We need to put these machines A and machine B in the same network which we created. So I have created one virtual network which is load balancer network, and this machine should be under this network. That's why we are selecting this network. Rest, I'm not doing any change. I simply hit review and create. This thing I have to do 2 times because, as you know, in one virtual network, we're gonna put 2 machines. So it is doing the validation. Once the validation is passed, I'm gonna hit create button here. Let's hit create, and this will create our first machine. Now, so over here it says download private key and create resource. Let's click on that because it always asks this because we are authenticating via keys, right? So that's why we have to download this key. And once this is done, it starts creating the resource. So over here, you know what a load balancer is. Remember, load balancer job is to transfer the requests based on the traffic or based on the load. And you know, we are putting the machines in this network. So this network will have 2 machines. Right now we have created 1 machine. Let's create another machine. This is getting created. Let it create. Meanwhile, I'll explain another thing. So one thing you also need to do here is create a load balancer, right? This load balancer basically helps you to transfer or send the traffic based on your need or whatever you require, right? So once these 2 machines you will be, you created machine A and machine B, then we also need to create a load balancer under the same network so that this load balancer can transfer the requests which is coming from the users based on the traffic and the load on each machines. That's the end goal which we need to achieve here. So you see, our first machine, which is machine A, got created, which is good. Now let's quickly create another machine similar way which we did just now. We have the machine A. Let's hit create one more time, because to show the demo of load balancer we need more than one machines, so that load balancer can send the traffic to either A or to B based on your data or the traffic which is there. Let's select the same resource group, which is load balancer. Then the machine name, our machine name was machine B. And it's a central US, and we're not going to select any infrastructure. Similarly, we have this operating system, and this is the size of the virtual machine. I'm going to authenticate similarly with the keys, which is good. I hit next to the disks, then next to the networking. Make sure that this also has the same network, same virtual network, which is load balancer network, because we are putting these machines into a same network. So my machine B's will also be in this network. That's all. Now I'm going to hit review and create. Now, once you do that, it's going to validate whether all the requests which we have or all the fields which we have filled is correct or not. And if it says it is correct, validation passed, then we simply hit create. This will make sure that our virtual machine will get created. And yeah, it's gonna ask download the key for authentication and create the resource. Let's hit this. Now, once you do that, it's gonna download the key and it's gonna start the deployment or start the creation of the machine B. Remember what we have done so far. We have created a virtual network, then we have created two machines. Now, what we need to do? We need to configure two machines. Basically, we will make that environment so that we will host a very small application, or you say website, on each of these machines, machine A and machine B. Basically, we're going to do some configurations over these two machines. And then we will be creating a load balancer and attaching these machines with that load balancer. But before, let's configure these machines. Why we are configuring this machine? Because this machine will have some content, some unique content. And this machine B also has some unique content. Now, when you as a user hits this website or machine A, you will see the different content. And when you hit the machine B, you will see the different content, so that you will know that your load balancer is working properly. So our machine 2 also gets created, which is good. Let's go to our virtual machine. Oops. Let's go to our virtual machines. And over here, you will see the two machines got created, machine A and machine B. Let's hit machine A. You know, we need to connect to this machine, right? Now, connect to this machine, you simply click on connect and hit connect. It will redirect to this page called connect, where you will see native SSH. That is, it will give you the command to connect to this machine, right? We have learned this in the previous sessions as well. Now I'm going to hit select. Basically, it will give me the command to log in into this machine. So it is showing me this command, which will help me to sign into this machine. Command says ssh-i, then the key. .pem is the key of your machine. Azure user is the username and then the IP of the machine. This is the IP of the machine, public IP. Now, to connect to this machine, we will open a terminal. But before I open the terminal, let me show you the keys. So you see, the key is downloaded here. Machine A key, right? And this is the machine. Sorry, I didn't mention the machine B. But yeah, this is the machine A and this is the machine B key. Or let me just refresh it. Yeah, this is the machine. So first we downloaded the machine A key, then we downloaded the machine B. So these are the two keys for our machine so that it will authenticate. Now, let's open the terminal. And from that, we will log in into this machine. I'm going to press clear so that we will have the fresh screen. And I'm going to type cd space downloads. Under the download folder, I'm going to simply paste whatever I have copied. The command which you see here, I simply pasted that command here. Now, I'm going to replace, this is the key, but this is not the actual key which I have, right? So I have the key name different, which is machine_A. That's the key name, right? So I'm going to type this and press tab button, which will load the machine name correctly for me. So machine key, this is the right key. Machine A_key. So you just need to type your key name, which is presented in the downloads folder so that we can log in into this machine. I'm going to press enter. And over here, I'm going to type yes so that I can log in into this machine. So we are using SSH and then the key name, the password and the username and IP. So if you see here, just to explain you a bit more, this SSH-i, then the password, this is our credential for machine, the username of the machine. Remember this things we have given while creating a machine. And then the IP of the machine. If you see here, let me show you. If I go to the overview, and under the overview, if you see the IP address ending with 176 here, and if you see this IP, right, the IP is same. So we are logging into this IP with this username, and this is our key to log in. So once you provide that, we are able to log into the machine A. Let's hit clear. Now we are into this machine A. What we are going to do now is we will be running certain commands to configure this machine. Like I said, we're going to host a website in it so that we will be identifying that, hey, this is machine A and the other one is machine B. Let me open my slide to show you the commands. Don't worry, you will get these commands in the resources material as well. What first you need to do? First, I need to run the sudo apt update. What this will do, it will update my machine. Example, if you, let's say you use Windows or Mac. So the Windows will keeps on pushing some updates regularly. So you need to update the machine. You do an update and restart the machine if you have done. Similarly, I am updating this machine so that the version will become latest of this machine. So when I hit press, it's gonna download the latest versions of packages which is available. So once that is complete, we will have everything updated. It says these many package has been upgraded. That's what I need. I will press clear again. Now I'm gonna install the Apache server. If you see here, install Apache server. Why we are doing it? Remember, we need to host our website. In Linux or in Ubuntu, to host a website, you need Apache. So Apache is a software which we are installing in order to host the website, or in order to host any content basically. If you don't have Apache, you will not be able to host. If you know, in Windows, we have IIS, Internet Information System. If you don't have that, you will not be able to host anything on the Windows machine. Similarly, Apache is like that. To host, let's hit enter. I'm going to say yes, because it's asking, do you want to continue? I say, yeah, why not? Press enter. And it's gonna install the Apache software. First, I did an update on my machine. Then I'm simply installing the Apache. As simple as that. So once this is done, I'm gonna run some more 2-3 commands left, because this command will only help me to install the Apache. Once Apache is there, I need to upload the content of it, right? The content which I want to upload. To do that, I'm making some directories. Sudo mkdir means make directory, and in this folder I'm going to make the directory /htm. Right. The next command is I'm going to give the ownership to the current user for this path, because I need to upload my content. I need to add my data to this machine. So I'm giving the admin privileges with this command. chown is change ownership. Sudo is a root user or the admin user. So I'm running these commands from admin rights, from admin privileges. First, I created the directory. Then this is a directory got created, var www/html. That's the directory. Now, once directory is created, I'm gonna give the ownership permission, change ownership. Sudo is admin, change ownership, root user for this path which got created above, so that I will have the root privileges. I hit enter. Once that is done, let's set the root permissions with this command. So these commands you see after installing the Apache is just to create the directory and give the admin rights. Then the last command you see here, this command which I am putting right now is to add the content. The content or website which we are adding, it will display I am machine A. Okay, let's hit enter. So whenever you browse the IP of this machine, you should see this content. I am a machine A. Okay. So now, if you browse this IP, you should see that content which we uploaded. What content we have uploaded? We have uploaded I am machine A. So let's browse this website. Once this website loads, you should see this I am machine A. But there is a problem in that. There is a problem in this thing. Let me explain you what the problem we have. If you recall, when we are discussing the Ubuntu machines, the first time we created it, I told you that in order to log in into this machine, if let's say this user wants to log in into this machine, you need to open the SSH port. Do you recall that? If there is no SSH port opened, this users will not be able to log in into this machine. Similarly, if you browse this IP address from the internet, if you see, I tried to browse, it says this site cannot be reached. Now, if you just try to copy this, okay, I'm just doing a Control C, opening a new tab, opening a new tab and doing a Control V. Over here, you see this IP, which is HTTP. Now, this IP or this port, which is HTTP, needs to be enabled so that when a user try to access this website from web, it should be able to access it. So what I'm trying to say, if you as a user wants to hit this website or wants to access the website which is on this machine. Remember, this SH is for logging, okay? This is for logging into this machine. I will just draw like this. This thing which you learned, the port and all is for logging. But this part, when a user, a public user wants to access this machine, or let's say there is some data or content, like you remember right now we uploaded some content. Let's say there is content in it and this user wants to see the content of it. So this machine should open the HTTP port or HTTPS port. HTTP or HTTPS. If this port is not open, HTTP or HTTPS, this user cannot access or see the content of this machine. This is what's happening right now. Though you have uploaded the content, but this site is not accessible. If you see here, you have uploaded this content, I am machine A. So this IP should able to show you that content. But it is not showing. The reason is simple. Because let's say if I copy this IP and just paste it in the another one. So you see it's an HTTP protocol. So that HTTP protocol needs to be enabled for this machine. If that protocol, HTTP protocol, is not enabled, then this user who is trying to access the content of this machine will not be able to see. So in short, this basically helps you to access or see the content of this website. If your HTTP or HTTPS is not enabled, the user will not be able to see the machine, while SSH port is for logging in. I hope this makes sense. If there is any confusion, please watch this video again till this point. So due to this reason, I have to enable the HTTP port of this, because a user will try to access this IP with HTTP and HTTP is not open. So to open the HTTP, I'm gonna hit networking. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain the networking in detail as well. But for this demo, we have to cover this part. Under the networking, I'm gonna click on create port rule and create inbound port rule. Once you do that, under the service, just hit that service and click on HTTP, because your website has HTTP port, if you see. So we are enabling that HTTP port. I click on add. This will make sure my HTTP port is added. If that port is not added, see, you see the result here. Your website is not loaded. Now that port has been added, if you see here. Now this port has added. Allow HTTP is added, right? Now if you try to browse this, you see, we again are browsing this website. You see this content. I am a machine A. Now the content is loading. Why it is like that? Because you allowed or you enabled the HTTP port. Earlier that port was disabled. So in short, SSH port will help you to log in, while HTTP or HTTPS port is for accessing the public IP. Make sense? Okay, I hope this makes sense to you. Now I have to do the similar thing for machine B. Remember, we have and this completes the configuration of machine A. Now, if you got stuck while understanding this, I'm going to explain a bit again, because we have to do the configuration on the machine B as well. So, but it will be a little quick. So again in the machine B, I'm going to hit connect. And I'm going to select native SSH and hit select. So once it loads, you're going to copy this command. Okay, let's copy this command. Open the terminal, new terminal. Let's open new terminal. And let's clear the screen. And just press CD downloads. Remember, our key is in that. If you forgot, let me show you. The machine is the key is this machine underscore key. So I'm going to just type the command which we have copied. So I pasted here, and I'll just give the correct key name, which is machine key. That's the key name we have for this machine B. I hit enter. I say yes, continue. So it's gonna sign me into that machine. Yes, I'm into the machine B. I hit clear. Now we are in the machine B. So we need to follow the same steps again. That is, I'm gonna install the latest updates with this command. Paste that, let it install. Then I will run the second command, that is install the Apache. Then let's hit yes to install the Apache as well. I'm going to install that. Then I'm going to run the third command. This is the same steps which I am following, which we did the setup for machine A. Same setup I'm right now doing for the machine B. So we're going to now create the folders, directories, and give the access. So let's paste the command which we just now copied, hit enter. Similarly, let us copy the other rest of the commands one by one. Then I'm going to copy the second last command, which is this. If you need more explanation, just watch the video again. I have already explained you what commands these are and why we are running it. So I'm going to set up this time for I am machine B. I'm going to hit enter. That's all. That's what we did for machine B. Now, if you try to open this website, or if you try to open this machine, it will not open. The reason is same, because this machine don't have the HTTP port open, and you are trying to open the HTTP port of this machine. If you see here, you're trying to access HTTP, but you will not be able to see because the port is not enabled, right? See, this site cannot be reached. What we're gonna do now, on this machine B, I'm gonna search for networking here. Under the networking, let's enable that port for HTTP, so that let's create an inbound rule. Basically, these rules will help you to allow or disallow something. So right now I'm allowing all the requests which is coming from HTTP port. So HTTP port should go inside the machine, whatever the request is coming. Let's hit add. I'm not changing anything. I'm just changing the service to HTTP and click on add. That's the only thing I'm doing. Once you did this, I'm going to again go back to this machine. This is machine B. I'm going to hit refresh. Once you hit refresh, in some time, that page or that content which we have should appear up. Sometimes it's going to take time to reflect. Okay, so we added this port, which is added. Let me refresh it again. Like I said, sometimes it take longer time to reflect the changes. If you see here, we have added this. I am machine B, and let me just load this page as well. Sometimes if these pages are still not loading, what you can do, you can just wait for a couple of seconds. You see here, I am machine B, because changes may not be immediate. Okay, so first machine is machine A, then second machine is machine B. Now what you need to do, you need to create a load balancer. Remember, let's see what we have done so far. We have created a network, we have created two machines, we have created and configured two machines. Now you have to create, last step is create load balancer. So you see, one more thing to note. Earlier, this machine has some IP address, right? Because I told you that we have the IP and then you log in into that machine, right? So both these machines has the IPs. Now a user will, once these machines are behind the load balancer, now this user will not be hitting these IPs. Load balancer will have its own IP. Okay, so the user is basically will hit the IP of this load balancer, and this user will not be knowing the IPs of this, your machine A or machine B, because these machines are running behind the load balancer. So the IP which is exposed to the end user will be of load balancer, because load balancer will also have an IP. That IP will be redirecting the request to machine A or to machine B. But this end user will not be knowing that. These IPs will be known only to the internal users. And it's a good protection as well, right? because your IPs, internal IPs are not exposed anymore. So this user will be hitting this IP and these IPs will not be exposed to the outside world. So that's one another concept which I want to highlight. Let's create a load balancer. So I'm going to type load balancer. Over here, let's hit create. And I'm going to type or select standard load balancer, which says distribute traffic to backend sources. Backend resources is what? The virtual machines which we created. So I hit that, create. Remember, we created a resource group called load balancer. So I'm going to select that. Give your load balancer name. I'm going to give my load balancer name as load balancer itself. It's in Central US. The SQ will be the standard because first we'll learn the standard and then later we're going to learn the gateway. The type will be public because remember our website is public. It's not internal. If it's internal, no one can access it. Whoever is in the public, only the internal guys or internal people of the company will be able to access. But currently this is a public load balancer. Tier, it's a regional tier or a global tier. We are making it regional because we have selected the Central US. So it's a regional based. Let's hit next. And it says front end IP. Remember, this IP is called as front end IP and these IPs are backend. Because for a user, this will be the front facing IP, right? This is the front facing IP. So it is a front IP and these are the backend IPs. So I'm going to add the front end IP. Remember, the front end IP is the IP which is only accessible to the users. Backend IPs or backend virtual machines IPs, no outside people can see that. For example, I'll just give you an example. Let's say you ping google.com. Okay. So here you see the IP here. Right? You see the IP here. This IP is of the load balancer. We will not be able to see the IPs which is the backend IPs. Only the load balancer IPs you are able to see. So right now I'm adding a front end IP. So let me add as load balancer IP. Over here, you can select a public IP address if you have any. But if you don't have, let's create. I'm going to just make it as load balancer IP. That's the name of my IP. And in the zone redundant, I'm going to select no zone. So because we don't need a complex configuration at this time, I'm going to simply add a simple IP address which don't have any zones. Remember, you learned zone 1, 2, 3. Remember, these are the availability zones. Building 1, 2, 3. That's what it is showing. But yeah, let's save it. So when you click on save, your front end IP will be added. Then once you add this IP of the load balancer, which is a public facing IP, you need to add or link these VMs with this load balancer. Right? Let's click on next. Backend pools, meaning what all VMs are behind this load balancer which we want to keep. I will click on add a backend pool. That is, I'm selecting the machines. I'll just name it as backend machines. Select the virtual network. Remember, this is a load balancer network which we created. So I'm going to select this load balancer network and click on add. This add will make sure that how many VMs you or which VMs you want to add. So let's hit add. See the machine A and machine B. What we are saying, that we are saying, hey, add these to machine A and machine B behind this load balancer. So this will be our front end and this will be the back end. So we are adding these two machine A and machine B with this load balancer. So load balancer duty will be transferring the load either to this machine or to the machine B. You need to make sure that these machines A and machine B should be in the same virtual network. For this demo, click on save. So we added these two machines. That's all. I'm not doing any changes and simply hit review and create. Just to revise you what we have done, we have selected the resource group, we have selected the name, the region, type we have selected as public. Then we created a IP address, front-end IP for this load balancer. Then we linked the machines behind this load balancer. Click on review and create. And simply hit create. This will create your load balancer and the two backend VMs will be attached to it. I'm going to hit create. Now, once you hit create, the load balancer will be created in just a few minutes. So what we have done so far, if you see here, we have created a virtual network. We have created two machines. We have configured two machines. And we then created a load balancer. The last step will be to create the load balancer rules. That will be the last thing we're gonna do, or you say the configuration of the load balancer. And then it will, we can call it as a complete demo. So let the load balancer created, and then we should be able to see the load balancer with the two machines. The demo can be overwhelming for some of you, but you need to watch this thing again so as to understand better. Keep on watching. If you didn't understand, it will help you. And please perform this demo. Watching will not help you. I have to be very little strict on that. Sorry about that. But please watch this thing and perform this. You will understand better. I will now click on go to resource. So this is our load balancer. Under the load balancer, you can go to the backend pools. So there you will see what all machines are attached to this load balancer. You see machine A and machine B. In the front end IP, you will see the IP of this load balancer. Now, as I was stating, you need to, in the end, only create the backend, a load balancing rules. Let's see, create this rule and we will be good for this demo then. I'm going to hit add. The rule name, I'll just mention as load balancer rule. Front-end IP address. Let's select the front-end IP which we have. The backend pool, remember we created the backend pool, which is backend machine. That's the pool is basically the group of machines. And in this backend pool, we have two machines, right? Machine A and machine B. So that's the name of the pool, or you say the group where we have all the machines. Then port, we're going to select port 80. Backend port also, we're going to select 80, but you can select any, but I'm selecting 8080 only. Now it says the health probe. If you see this, the selected health probe is used by this rule to determine which machine in the backend pools are healthy and can receive the load balance traffic. So basically, you need to attach this health probe. What this health probe will do, this health probe will check the whether that machine is healthy or whether that machine is up to receive the load or not. If it is not healthy, then load balancer will remove that machine from sending the traffic to it. For example, load balancer identify that this machine B is unhealthy. Right? Let me draw like that. Let's say load balancer identify that this machine is down. So when this machine is down, what we want? We want that no traffic should go into this machine B and all the traffic should go to machine A because it is down. Maybe some maintenance or some issue, whatever. So health probe will check that condition, whether that machine is up or down or it's healthy or not healthy. So that's why health probe is important, to check the health of that machine. So let's create a health probe because it's a mandatory field. So let's hit create new. I'll just name it as healthy and simply click on save. As simple as that, right? So you just give the name, that's all. And simply hit save. So for this rule, I just added the name, selected the IP, front-end IP, the backend pool, gave the port, and gave the health probe. If you don't have, you just simply need to click on create. Give the name and click on save. Click on save again. Now once you do the save here, the rules will be applied for your load balancer. Or you say the last configuration of this load balancer will be done. So if you see, click on the overview, you will see that you have the health probe, you have the rule, and you have the backend pool, that is 2 virtual machines. Now in the search bar, just go to the virtual machines. Over here, you see you have a virtual machine A. Now, in this virtual machine, you see that this IP is the IP of a machine A, while the IP, this is the IP of a load balancer. Remember the IP ending with 123. 123 is the IP of the load balancer. Let's see the machine B. So what I'm trying to say here is that the load balancer IP will be presented in both. If you see ending with 123. So now earlier you saw that this machine A and B has only one IP. Now this machine A and B has two IPs. And this IP will now be used every time. So if you see here, this is the IP, which I told you that public facing IP, right? So this IP of the load balancer will be the public facing IP, which is linked with both these machines, machine B as well as machine A. Machine A also has this. So one IP which is of load balancer, behind that two machines, machine A and machine B is running. Now let me browse this load balancer IP. This is the load balancer IP, which is 123. Remember, the IP ending with 176 is of machine A. IP ending with 199 is machine B. But IP ending with 123 is a load balancer IP. Here you see it's showing machine B. So right now, load balancer send the traffic to the machine B. If you keep on refreshing, sometimes it may send to machine A as well. So it totally depends on the load balancer that where it will send the traffic to. Let me open this IP in the incognito mode. So let's hit continue to the site. Now it says machine A. So you see the IP is same. Let me just expand it. IP is same 123 123. One is saying I am machine A, one is saying I am machine B, because the load balancer is sending the traffic either to a machine A or machine B. If you see the IP here 123, the 123 IP is same, but both machine has its own separate IPs. Now that will not be considered because both are running behind a load balancer. Load balancer has the same IP, but the content of these machines are different. I hope this demo makes sense to you now, that the IP of the load balancer will now be used and these IPs of the machine will no longer be used. If there are some confusions, please watch this video again and perform this demo by yourself. I try to explain as in easy terms as I can. Watch this video again, you should be able to understand and perform this demo. Once you're done with the demo, or once you perform with the demo, as always, click on the resource group, which is the load balancer resource group, and hit delete resource group. That's the always you're gonna do. I'm gonna delete the resource group because once you're done with the demo, we should delete this. I hope you enjoyed this. In the coming sessions, there will be more interesting demos so that you can learn more. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.